Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Randana Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande. Hare Krishna, everyone. Welcome to the Sunday Feast class. So this title might surprise you because it's kind of out of the box, but bear with me. You will understand what it means in a little bit. I sent this presentation to a friend, and he said, "Why are you speaking on this? You don't have any of these things." A Ferrari and a Harvard education, that's what he was saying. But I said, you'll understand when you go through the presentation. So this presentation is based on the teachings of the Bhagavad Gita. So we're going to speak today from the 16th chapter, texts 11 and 12. They're in one verse, or two verses, but they're in one section, you can say. So I will say the verse, and then we can read the translation as well. Chintam let's do Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Chintam aparimeyam cha.
Chintam aparimeyam cha.
Pralay at antam upashrita.
Pralay antam upashrita.
Kamo paboga parama.
Kamo paboga parama.
Etavad iti nishtita.
Etavad iti nishtita.
Asha pasha satir baddha.
Asha pasha satir baddha.
Kama krodha parayana.
Kama krodha parayana.
Nihante kama bhogartam.
Nihante kama bhogartam.
Anyayenartha sanchayan.
Anyayenartha sanchayan.
If anyone would like to read also, please, we can say it. So the translation is, they believe that to gratify the senses is the prime necessity of human civilization. Thus, until the end of life, their anxiety is immeasurable. Bound by a network of hundreds and thousands of desires and absorbed in lust and anger, they secure money by illegal means for sense gratification. Om Ajnanatimidandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuru Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Tadamahyam Tadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Parakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Sakrajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakamitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So I thank Shamkun Prabhu and Nilamani Prabhu for giving me the chance to speak. I'm really out of my comfort zone when I speak. I can do a kirtan to thousands of people, or I can do pujas and this and that, like they were saying, but speaking is something that really puts me out of my comfort zone, so I like to do it now and then, not all the time. So, also like to have the blessings of all the senior Vaishnavas, so I can say something that may be beneficial to you all and glorifying the Supreme Lord. So, let's say we have a Ferrari, okay? We actually all have a Ferrari. We have this human form of life. It's considered like a really precious thing that we have. So the reason I'm talking about a Ferrari is this analogy of that there was once a farmer, and the farmer was gifted a Ferrari, and he was a very simple farmer, and he said, let me plow my fields with this Ferrari. And that sounds funny to us, right? Because how can you plow a field with a Ferrari? It's not what its usage is, right? So he spoiled basically this Ferrari because he wanted to plow a field with it. So what we can say is that this Ferrari is our body, and we need to use this Ferrari in the proper way. So a bad farmer would use the Ferrari, as I said, to plow a field. So plowing is considered lower activities that don't uplift us or bring us closer to Krishna or bring us closer to God. They're lower activities such as sense gratificatory activities that don't really help us in the grand scheme of things. And so, as I said, the Ferrari is our body. So the farmer does not know how to use this Ferrari to its true potential. And the field that he's using is the environment that we live in. So for example, if we indulge too much in our senses, then it can also affect the environment. For example, nowadays we see this factory farming industry. Ultimately, it comes down to the satisfaction of the tongue, of that we'd like to eat certain things, so we use the earth for these to satisfy these senses. So that's affecting the field of our field. It said something really interesting that I heard was that if in this earth, if the only species that if it was wiped off the earth would help the earth is the human species. Now think about that for a second. That's quite embarrassing, isn't it? That we use the earth in such a way that if there was no more humans, the ecology would be balanced again. That's very shocking. So in that way, the farmer is spoiling the field as well. So the car is spoiled, the field is spoiled, and the farmer is frustrated because he's not using that Ferrari to its highest potential. So I say this analogy because we are the farmer, and we have the human form of life. So we have to use the human form of life in the proper way. We have to use it to uplift ourselves. We have to use it for eternal activities, such as Krishna consciousness. So, please shut off your cell phones, please. Sorry I didn't make that announcement in the beginning. So in this chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is talking about demoniac and divine mentalities. So he specifically talks a lot more about demoniac mentalities in this chapter. So I just want to give a little overview of what is a demon, and this word atmaha, which comes in the Srimad Bhagavatam and also comes in the Ishopanishad. Who is a soul killer? Why is this term soul killer? Because it says in the Bhagavad Gita the soul cannot be killed. So let's talk a little bit about that. Who is a demon? So what Krishna or Srila Prabhupada also is describing is a demonic mentality. Okay, not the actual demon. We think of demon as having big fangs or big horns or something like that. It's not actually what there is being discussed. It's a demonic mentality that we all have. So we all have this demonic side of in ourselves. And like it said that in ourselves we have two dogs. like kind of like the angel demon type thing. So we have two dogs, and depending on who we feed the most depends on, and it means who's going to bark the loudest, right? So if we have the good dog and the bad dog. So if we feed the good dog much more than we feed the bad dog, then it will flourish and it will drown out the bad dog. So Krishna is talking about that in this chapter. So this Atmaha, so who is this? I have a little logo of a demon here, sorry, that's my favorite Kumbhakarn. I really like that in Ramayana. So who is an Atmaha? So in the Bhagavad Gita it says that the soul cannot be killed. The soul cannot be killed by, we are eternal. That the body is, temporary, and the soul cannot be burned by fire, cannot be withered by the wind, cannot be, by water or anything like that. So why does it say Atmaha, or the killer of the soul? So this is a figurative expression. So in Shastra we can take things literally and figuratively. In this way, it's described figuratively. And where this word Atmaha comes from is in the Srimad Bhagavatam. The Srimad Bhagavatam is our main text, which is 18,000 verses. So in the Srimad Bhagavatam, which all of our philosophy of Krishna consciousness is based on, there's a wonderful verse which describes what Atmaha means. So if you can follow here, the human body, which can award all benefit in life, is automatically obtained by the laws of nature. So we've automatically obtained this human life. We didn't come and choose this, but we've all taken this human life. So, continuing the translation by Srila Prabhupada, although it is a very rare achievement, this human body can be compared to a perfectly constructed boat, having the spiritual master as the captain and the instructions of the personality of Godhead as favorable winds, impelling it on its course. Considering all these advantages, a human being who does not utilize his human life to cross the ocean of material existence must be considered the killer of his own soul. So there's great imagery that Srila Prabhupada gives here, and the Srimad Bhagavatam gives here, as the body being a beautifully, perfectly constructed boat, and the spiritual master is the captain. So, as he said, as we see here, so the human life, we've got this human life after, it's a very rare achievement actually. Out of the so many thousands of births that we've taken, we finally come to the human form of life. So those who don't know, there are so many births that we can take that the soul can transmigrate from one body to the next. So from the bird species, to the insects, to the trees, to all these different 4.32 million, I believe, species of life, that we've come to the human form of life. And the human form, there's only about 100,000 types of humans, as opposed to subtract that from 4.32 million. So we have come to this human form of life after such a long time, and then even more rare is to find shelter of a guru. So some of us here have taken shelter of a spiritual master. Srila Prabhupada, he's here also, who has come to deliver this amazing philosophy to us. And the Shastras is, as it says, is considered the wind that impels the boat to go in the direction of Krishna. So I just thought that was a really wonderful image that we can remember. So to continue, who is the killer of the soul? If we don't take these facilities that have been given to us, we are considered that we're killing our soul. Not literally we are killing our soul, but we're killing the potential that we have for Krishna consciousness. So if we study these scriptures, which it says are the winds that impel bring the boat closer over the ocean of material birth and death, these scriptures create spiritual desires in us. They create spiritual thoughts in us, and inclinations and convictions. So we don't have, we don't use these mundane activities that bring us away from Krishna. So these help us move toward Krishna, as I said. And then the study of mundane things creates wind that takes us away from Krishna. The same way the boat is going towards Krishna, as it says by the study of the scriptures. Then if we indulge too much in mundane activities or study mundane things, then those bring our consciousness lower and bring us away from the ultimate goal. So then I just wanted to speak a little bit about the difference between humans and animals. So both humans and animals, they do these 4 activities: eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. So eating, animals, they can eat anything, and humans also eat the same way, but we've found our scientific advancement to create different types of foods or different processed foods or packaged foods. But the same thing, the goal is the same, is that we're eating. Sleeping, animals sleep on the street or in the forest, and humans, you can sleep on very expensive beds or advanced, technology, memory foam, this and that. But the same thing that we're doing is sleeping, right? It's not any different than an animal would. Mating, animals, they mate anywhere, and humans can mate in expensive residences as they did, sleeping as well and eating as well. All this takes a lot of energy and money. And defending, animals have claws and teeth to defend, and humans have advanced weaponry and missiles and bombs. So is this scientific advancement? I would say it is in some ways scientific advancement. There are wonderful things that science has done, but the point I'm trying to make is that the enjoyment is the same, is it not? The enjoyment is the same in sleeping, eating, sleeping, mating, and defending, and the goal is the same. So we can say that technology is only advancing animal propensities. This is a very heavy statement, but this is what the Shastra says, that we shouldn't be like polished animals. Think about that statement for a second. We shouldn't be like polished animals. We shouldn't. What's the difference between us and animals? There's a difference. There's a difference in responsibility. Just as there's like a judge and there's a clerk. So the clerk and the judge, they get paid differently, obviously. The common clerk is getting paid certain thing, and the judge is getting paid certain thing. But what's their difference? The difference is in responsibility. So the judge has a much higher responsibility than the clerk does. Therefore, he gets paid what he does. He got paid. So in the same way, we have to understand that the human form of life is a very, very great responsibility that we have. We cannot waste the higher consciousness that we have as opposed to animals, because animals, their only goal is to eat, sleep, mate, and defend. As humans, that shouldn't be our goal, because we have some other higher consciousness and higher goals to attain, and I will get into that in a bit. What is the goal of human life? So I wanted to bring about the second part of the title of my presentation, Harvard. Let's think about this for a second. A student gets into Harvard, okay? He studies very hard, he gets into Harvard. But he doesn't go to class. He gets into Harvard, but he doesn't go to class, and he doesn't study either. His only thing that he's really concerned about is with eating and with housing. Where is he going to live and where is he going to eat? So that sounds funny to us, right? Because if you spent so much time getting into Harvard, so much effort was taken to get into Harvard, and now you're only concerned with eating and housing, that's kind of strange. So the student will not graduate. He's not going to graduate. So what does this all mean? So the student that gets into Harvard, the student is the soul, and the soul receives the human body. So we all have got into Harvard, ladies and gentlemen. We have all got into Harvard. The student does not go to class or study. The human who does not pursue spiritual life, they are the same as basically the student who doesn't go to class and doesn't study. And the student who is over concerned with eating and housing is like us, who are overindulging in sense gratification and lower pursuits and not taking to higher pursuits or higher things or philosophy and higher pursuits like Krishna consciousness or God consciousness. And the student will not graduate, as it says there on the bottom. So that means the human life will be spoiled and the soul will not achieve Krishna. Sorry, that's a typo. The soul will not achieve Krishna. So that's an analogy, another analogy that we can take, that we have the Ferrari and we have the Harvard, we've got into the Harvard University. So we have to take that really seriously. So a question comes about that, but we have to eat. But the student has to eat. The student needs to know where he's going to live and where he's, what he's going to do. Yes, of course, that is true, but that's not his primary focus. So we should learn how to live in this world, but not be over concerned about these eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. We shouldn't be over concerned about these things because that's not our goal. So the main point is that we need to take the opportunity to make spiritual advancement and experience spiritual happiness. So that brings about the need for spiritual life, for Krishna consciousness. So Srila Prabhupada came in 1965, for those who don't know, to America to spread this Krishna consciousness philosophy and this culture of Krishna consciousness. And so a lot of us have been practicing that. So in practicing Krishna consciousness, we have to practice it in a way that's very proactive. We can't just be kind of wishy-washy about our Krishna consciousness, or else we're not really going to get anywhere. So, as some people know, I'm into making memes. I don't know if everyone here knows what memes are. Maybe the older devotees don't know what memes are. But I wanted to show you a meme that I made. When you do the bare minimum in spiritual life. So there's a picture here you can see of a burning house or whatever, and the person next to her is just throwing a little bucket in. And he's saying, it's a gradual process, Prabhuji. So I'm speaking to myself here. We shouldn't make excuses when it comes to Krishna consciousness. It's a gradual process, is correct, but it's as gradual as you make it to be, as Ayendra Prabhu said. Ayendra Prabhu was one of our great Kirtaniyas in our movement, and he was very intense about his Krishna consciousness. And he said, it's as gradual as you'd like it to be, as you make it to be. So don't make it like this person, like a very gradual process in the sense of he's not really getting anywhere. So this person trying to put out the fire is like what it says in the verse of the Gurvashtakam, Samsara Dava Navadita Loka, that we're burning in this ocean, in this fire of material existence. And the Guru has come to, extinguish that fire. So I'd also like to, say that for those of us who have not taken that commitment in spiritual life, we should, if you're thinking about doing that, if you're on the fence of doing that, you should think that we should take that very seriously, that we should take initiation. We should give that commitment to a spiritual teacher. And because that's the beginning of spiritual life, it says. It's not that initiation is the goal or anything. Of course, in some ways in our life it can be the goal, but it's actually the beginning of spiritual life is when you take shelter of a spiritual master. So I wanted to talk a little bit about the 5 best limbs of bhakti, as it says in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. So bhakti, as it is 9 processes of bhakti. It's Prahlad Maharaj says, Shravanam, Kirtan, Vishnu Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atmanivedanam. So these are different things that we can do, devotional service, as it said, that we can perform with our body, with our mind, with our words, to further our consciousness and uplift ourselves in Krishna consciousness. As we were just doing, we were chanting in Kirtan. So that's a form of Krishna consciousness and of bhakti yoga. And now we're hearing from the Shastras, that's also another limb of bhakti. So it says in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Sadhu Sangha Nam Kirtan Bhagavat Shravana Mathura Vas Shri Murtira Stradaya Sevana. Sakala sadhana shrestha e pancha anga. So associating with sadhus, chanting the Lord's name, hearing the scriptures of pure devotion, residing in a holy place, faithfully serving the Lord's deity, these 5 are the best of all the limbs of devotional practice. So these practices, as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has said, are the 5 most potent and the 5 most best, he says, limbs of devotional practice. So there's a great way to remember these. So Nam, Dham, Bhagavatam, deity, devotee. So these are the 5 angas that we can easily remember, that we can try to do every day. At least try to do these 5 things every day. Srila Prabhupada actually designed the morning program. So every morning here in the temple, we are performing these 5 activities in the temple. So he was just really a genius when it came to, in every ISKCON temple all over the world, these 5 things are performed. So let's talk a little bit about each one. So Nam Kirtan means chanting the Lord's holy names. So as we were just doing Kirtan, and also we can do japa, as this devotee is doing on the left here. He's personally chanting. Everyone here, most devotees here carry around beads where we chant our 16 rounds. So what is the mood when we chant? So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has said that one should think oneself lower than a straw on the street. We should be devoid of false prestige, offer respect to others, but expect none in return. And in that way we can always chant the holy names. So he's given us the mood of how to chant. So as I said, it can be done in japa by oneself or in congregation, which is the most important way actually. As it says also in the scriptures, Harinama, Harinama, Harinama Kevalam, Kalo Nasteva, Nasteva, Nasteva Katiranyata. That this holy name is the only way which we can deliver ourselves. In this age, people are so, we're so, lazy, and we can be really misguided, and also we're not as intelligent as people were in the past, in other yugas or in other ages. So in that way, the scriptures have given us this concession that we chant. Our main thing should be chanting the holy names. So then the next sin is Mathuravas or Dham, residing in a holy place. So it is in Vrindavan. There's a place in India. There are many holy places in India: Vrindavan, Mayapur, Jagannath Puri. And then also we have ISKCON of Tawaka, which is also a holy place. As Srila Prabhupada has said, all his temples that he established are holy places. So we can reside here, we can visit here. So that's also performing that anga of bhakti. Bhagavat Shravan, hearing the scriptures of pure devotion. So Srila Prabhupada has taken so much trouble to translate and write all these different books that he did. So it's up to us to take advantage of that and read regularly and hear regularly the lectures and whatnot, so we can uplift our consciousness, because our intelligence can be sharpened by reading the scriptures. And so not just reading, but also studying and putting them into practice. Because we don't want to be armchair philosophers. Armchair philosophers means they talk a big philosophy, but they're just sitting and they're just talking about it. They're not doing anything about it. So philosophy, that's in that way it has to be practice as well. And so in ISKCON we also offer Bhakti Shastri, which is a real systematic way to learn the scriptures. And then there is the Shri Murtir Shraddha Sevana, faithfully serving the deity. So in our homes we can have deities, or you can come to the temple and serve the deities. So the deity is a form of Krishna, is Krishna himself, who has come kindly to take our service. Just as a mailbox is when it has to be an authorized mailbox, in the sense that you can't just have a box on the street and put mail in and expect the postman's going to come and take it. There has to be a specific installation ceremony that needs to happen, and like that. So the deity takes the service of our service. So I just wanted to read a little quote from the Srimad Bhagavatam. The Archana marg, or the devotional path prescribed in the Pancharatra system of devotional service for worshipping the deity in the temple, makes the devotee think constantly of the Lord. That is samadhi, or trance. One who practices in this way cannot deviate from the service of the Lord, and that makes him perfect in the mission of human life. And so sadhu sangha, associating with sadhus. So we see a picture here of Srila Prabhupada. So of course there's associating with advanced devotees, but also the Srimad Bhagavatam has said, or Chaitanya Charitamrita has said sajatiya, which means that one should take the association of devotees who are more advanced than oneself. That doesn't mean they have to be very advanced, but they have to be a little bit more advanced. And has to be, svajati also means they have to have similar moods as oneself. And in that way we can advance in Krishna consciousness. So, tying all that together, I want to talk a little bit about Lord Chaitanya. So Gaur Purnima is coming up. We're having a wonderful program on Wednesday, March 20th. You're all welcome to come as the announcements were made. So who is Lord Chaitanya, for those who don't know? Lord Chaitanya is Radha and Krishna combined. So although Radha and Krishna are one in their identity, previously they separated themselves. Now these two transcendental identities have again united in the form of Sri Krishna Chaitanya. And I bow down to him who has manifested himself with the sentiment and complexion of Srimati Radharani, although he is Krishna himself. So Lord Chaitanya came for two reasons. So it said, Prema rasa niryasa korite aswadana, raga marga bhakti loke karite pracharan. He came for two reasons. One reason being to taste the love of God himself. God came as a devotee of himself so he could understand what loving him felt like. Isn't that the most amazing thing ever? That he wanted to taste what his devotees feel. So he came as himself. He came as a devotee of himself to taste that love. And he came to preach that devotional life. So what I just mentioned about, chanting and all these things, he preached those things. He came 500 years ago in Bengal to preach these things. So Lord Chaitanya came to show us how to chant the holy name and to gain perfection. So I wanted to sing a song about Lord Chaitanya. We could all sing it together. We can sing it fairly quickly because we only have a little bit of time. So this is a wonderful song. I have the translation up as well. So we sing these songs. There are many songs that the Vaishnavacharyas have written. So there's a very thick book with different songs that Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Narottam Thakur, and all have given. So sometimes it's asked, why do we sing these songs? Why don't we just chant Hare Krishna? Hare Krishna is the Maha Mantra, it's the great mantra. But we sing these songs because we can understand the mood of how one should practice Krishna consciousness. We can read about Krishna consciousness for a very long time, but we need to understand what is the mood we should have when we chant. What is the mood we should have when we read the scriptures, or what is the mood we should have when we do any kind of devotional service to God, to Krishna. So I want to sing this beautiful song here. It's from Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and it's a song about the Guru and how the Guru tells the disciple about Lord Chaitanya. So you can repeat after me. I will sing it. Emana durmati samsara pitare Oriya chinu ami Emana durmati samsara pitare Oriya chinu ami Tabani jajan kono mahajane Tabani jaja, koro mahajane, athaiya dile tumi, mana durmati samsara pita Odiya chinuami mana durmati samsara pita Odiya chinuami. So he says, O Lord, I am so unfortunate to have fallen into this material world, but you have sent an exalted soul, one of your own associates, to save me. So, as it says, we have fallen into this ocean of, we have come into this material world, and Lord Chaitanya says, Ainanda tanuja kinkaram patitam mam vishame bhavam buddha. That, oh Lord, I have come to this material world, and so what's the translation of that? Ainanda tanuja. I have come to this ocean of birth and death. Please pick me up from this ocean of death and place me as one of the atoms at your Lord's feet. So Sri Guru has come to deliver us. So we continue. Daya kori more patita dekhiya kahilo amare giya. Daya kori more patita dekhiya kahilo amare giya. Ohe dina jana shuno balo kata. Ohe dina jana shuno balo kata. Ulasita habe hiya. Ulasita habe hiya. Emana durmati samsara pita. Odiya chinuami. So he says, being compassionate upon seeing me in such a fallen condition, he said, O humbled soul, listen to this good advice by which your heart will become joyful. So he says, humbled soul. So to take advice, sometimes we have to be humbled. Sometimes we have to take the inferior position. So when the Guru comes and tells us something, we have to be in a humble state of mind. So we have to be sufficiently beat down by the material nature to take this advice that the Guru is giving, right? So what is this advice? So he goes on to say, Tomara Karite Shri Krishna Chaitanya Navadvipe Ravatara. Tomara Karite Shri Krishna Chaitanya Navadvipe Ravatara. Tomahe no gato dinahe na jane. So he says, to deliver you, Shri Krishna Chaitanya has descended to the land of Navadvip. He has conducted so many poor and lowly souls like you across the ocean of material existence. So he's saying we are stuck and we need help across the ocean of samsara. So Lord Chaitanya has come to conduct, to take us, to deliver us back to over the ocean of material existence. Dedera pratikara ki baratara Rukmavana viprasuta. Dedera pratikara ki baratara Rukmavana viprasuta. Mahaprabhu name Nadiya Madaya. In order to fulfill the promise of the Vedas, he has appeared with a golden complexion as the son of a Brahmana. Known by the name Mahaprabhu, he He and his brother, the Avadut Nityananda, have caused all of Nadia to become maddened in divine ecstasy. So I'll just continue in the interest of time. Nanda Sutta Jini Chaitanya Gosai Nijanama Kori Dhana. Nanda Sutta Jini Chaitanya Gosai Nijanama Kori Dhana. Tarilo Jagata Tumi Ojaiya. Shri Chaitanya, who is directly the son of Nanda, has saved the world by distributing his own holy name. You go also and receive your deliverance. Sekata Shuriya Asiya Chinata Tumara Charana Kale. Bhakti Vinod Kandiya Kandiya. Apana kahini bole. So, O Lord, upon hearing these words, Bhakti Vinod, the author, has come to your lotus feet. Weeping, he tells the story of his life. So in this beautiful song, Bhakti Vinod has given the mood of how we should understand that the Guru has come to save us, and he has told us that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has come to this world to deliver you. Please take what he's giving, and what he is giving is the holy name. So in conclusion, I'd like to say this one last, we could say, sutra. Use the human form of life to uplift yourself to Krishna consciousness, as taught by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And using that Ferrari and Harvard example, I tried to illustrate that. And our main process is the chanting of the holy names. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Thank you, everyone. Hare Krishna. If anyone has any questions or comments, maybe we can take one, or you can talk to me after. Hare Krishna.